Today we are joined by Todd Smith, a former dealer principal, founder of Active Engage, and currently CEO of QoreAI. Todd, welcome to the Fixed Ops Mastermind.
It's a pleasure to be here, Dave. Super excited to talk about all things. Anything you want to talk about, I am open and ready.
All right, well, we'll cover a lot of ground here today. So
Awesome.
the show is broken up into three segments. Those segments for this one is segment one is dealership data. Segment two, we're going to talk AI. And finally, segment three is going to be using that knowledge. So come on, let's get into it.
Yeah, I feel like these are like three amazing things that I'm super passionate about. So let's dive in. Let's go. What do we got?
All right. So, first question, really simple answer. What's wrong with dealership data?
Listen, if you could have set up any softball question, this is it. Let's rewind a little bit as I answer this. I feel that automotive, as we all know, is a cluster of spaghetti data. I don't think any dealership on earth will argue the fact, whether it's a big group, whether it's an individual store, struggles with data. I think you can't point to one thing wrong or one reason why we have bad data in our
Hmm.
business. I think it's a host, and it's like ever remember Steve Jobs said, it's easy to see the world once you connect the dots going backwards.
Yeah.
And I look at connecting the dots, in automotive data where we had a few vendors, large vendors, CRMs, DMSs, which really control the data and have for many many years. They've controlled the data. I think dealers have even gone to court to try to get access and permission to their data because if you read the contract, some of these vendors actually were the owner of the dealer's data, which is crazy. Now that is recently changed. The dealers have more power, but still the dealer's data is resting in these systems. I don't think these systems, look, you can't think ahead 5, 10, 20 years when you build software. And
Right.
some of the DMSs are even older than that. And you can't kind of perceive what problems they'll run into the future. And
Hmm.
when a lot of these technologies were built, they were built to state of the art at the time, but fast forward, we've had a collision course of problems. So, these CRMs, DMSs really were not made to manage, to me, singularity of customer profiles. So,
Right.
as you see in many systems, lots of duplications. The systems don't have intelligence that
Hmm.
go, oh, T Smith, Todd Lear Smith, T Lear Smith are actually all the same person, right?
Hmm.
Instead, that's a multitude of people inside the average CRM or DMS. So I always say when you allow bad data into the house, you're going to get bad data going out of the house.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it, that there's been no gates to onboard data that it's valid. So that
Hmm.
creates like a snowballing collection of problems when you allow a first name and email address to come in and that just stays in the data, and then the full name comes in and now their name was William Smith, not Bill, with no last name. So same person, correlated, let's say phone number or home address. Email
Hmm.
is a terrible way to correlate data, but I think when I look at data in our business, I think a lot of it just has to do with legacy systems. They're just not built for a modern world, and they're not built for the amount of data available. So I think dealers continue to struggle with, trusting their data. I've seen all kinds of reports. Dealers don't even trust their own data, much less data being produced by a vendor,
Hmm.
because they've had so much what I consider just bad experiences with the data. Right? It's like, what? It's like querying Chat GPT, and it gives you some answer, and you're like, your little spidey senses, Dave, go, this seems weird. And I go, hey, where did you cite this? And it's like, oh, I didn't cite that. I just made it up. So And I look at a lot of data in our business, and that's what it is. I think you have monolithic architecture data structures.
Yeah.
You don't have all the fields available to really kind of create a really robust customer profile. There's
Hmm.
no way to using these legacy systems to enhance that data very well. So I think it all goes all the way back to, you know, bad data being put in is always going to equal bad data going out. And you start realizing that 2.5% of email addresses decay monthly. Think about that. 30% of your CRM or DMS data is bad year over for emails. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then think about it, like people pass away, people move,
Hmm. Switch
all these,
jobs.
they switch jobs, all these things happen.
Yeah.
And these current systems are not built to manage that. The dynamicness of our like data, like flexibility, like we're doing all these things. The normal system's just not built for that. And I think so. To me, that's what's wrong with dealership data.
Mhm.
It's wrong in every part. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, they're like necessary evils because they're like the entry points. They're the certified points that
Mhm.
dealers almost have to use
Yeah.
to begin journeys or get co-op funds and do all these things. Yet the real thing, it's only frustrating to dealers where they send their data out to a service to clean it, they do marketing, and then it never goes back all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
yeah, data's a nightmare in our business now. It definitely has to be fixed
Yeah.
for dealers to really be able to grow their business. I can't see not fixing this first. This
Yeah.
is like this is phase one of the 12-step of recovery process of data, or however many steps are in a recovery process. This
Yeah.
has to be step one, is like, get a hold of your data and
Yeah.
then be able to put it somewhere that you can really do something with it and control
Mhm.
it, and don't rely on, you know, I can't imagine any of the current platforms ever at this stage, unless they completely rebuild their systems,
Yeah.
being able to successfully manage dealership data.
Yeah, because like you said, they weren't in the time when they were built. They weren't built for what we needed to do now. All right, like I started using CDK or ADP back in 1989, I think it was, not maybe 1990.
Yeah.
And it's still essentially the same data that I was entering back then that they enter now.
Yeah. And there's so much great data available to us today that
Yeah.
you can't, like, unless you take it out of that system and then build a real profile around it,
Hmm.
you're never going to get usefulness out of the data. And that's right. I mean, like, look, we're all driving 1976 Novas right now in
Yeah,
dealership, right?
that's a great way to look at it, right? The technology that was around when these were created in the cars, if you were still driving that car, how would you feel about that?
Right. I mean, we're just looking at it, and that's what you're running your business on, a car with a distributor gap, and like this is, you don't have a tape deck yet. You have a
Yeah,
radio, AM, FM,
right.
you got some blinkers, you got the basics, you got a glove box, you definitely have a lighter and ashtray.
There you go.
Um, maybe you have seat belts, but
Yeah.
I look at it, it's like that's dealership data today. And it's a shame. And that's why you've seen this proliferation of all these, like, to me, single minded tools to figure out, like, oh, we take your data and then do your email. We take your data and we'll do text. We take your data and load it up into some other program to do email newsletters for service or something, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
you see all these things, and how does a dealer manage that? And then we have bigger problems where dealers a lot of times don't, like, you send it to, let's say, multiple services, your data, you allow it to be extracted, so
Hmm.
it goes from one system into multiple systems, right? Which is a problem in and of itself because of security. And then because you're not tracking that very well. And then you have to think about, well, what happens if a customer opts out of a text out
Yeah.
of a system? How would you, how would any other
Exactly.
system you're using know that? The
Yeah.
vendors' systems don't talk.
Hmm. So how much of an issue is customer communication from a security standpoint? How much of an issue is that?
It's a huge issue. I mean, look at TCPA alone is an issue. Forget like the do not call registry and all these
Yeah.
additional things on top of it. But just the TCPA fines are enough that you should be discouraged from allowing multiple systems to text your customers.
Yeah.
You need a point of origin that everything has to go from one spot, a fulcrum point, to services. At no point can you allow all these services to operate independently, because if you come in, if it, you know, if, uh, government comes in, audits you, sees how many messages you sent, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And especially in Florida, like Florida is the number one place for TCPA lawsuits nationwide. I
Mm.
think more lawsuits are filed in Florida than anywhere else in the country. I think it was combined. So Florida has, I call those predatory attorneys that love
Yeah.
the TCPA, and Florida has like even in, like another layer of TCPA, like where it's like you can't just have it on the document that you'll text. They have to have a separate checkbox that's specific to texting that customer. You know, the opt out process. Okay, so you opt them out of, I don't know, let's say you're using, I don't know, X time for it. So you opt them out of that.
Yeah.
Now someone extracts the data to do a service promotion and also texts all those customers. You wouldn't know.
Yeah. And that one opt out was supposed to be dealership wide,
Universal, right?
right?
But unless it is happening from an orientation point, like a single point,
Sure.
it doesn't work. And the DMS is not that point. The CRM is not that point.
No.
We are, I think, under a false pretense that these truly are our systems of record.
Hmm.
Because if you think about it that way, if you and I interview 100 dealers, which one are they going to say is their system of record? The CRM, the DMS, something else, their new
Yeah.
CDP? Like, so which one is it?
Yeah.
There's no universal like thing in our space.
Hmm.
And again, that causes problems.
For
Lots of
for
them.
for many of those systems, even service to sales is different. Same CRM system, and the information is not crossed over.
Because of how these systems are designed with tables and filters, and like that's a sales data, this is service data. And look, it's almost like I view this as a lot of this software, and I will look, I'm sure amazing developers built it at the time.
Yeah.
And I'll never say anything other than that. But from being in a space since before there was all this stuff, I'll age myself there. I can definitely say that, let's say they built a front end sales piece.
Yeah.
And then a dealer's like, I like this, I need service. So then they kind of build the service side in its
Yeah.
own, and maybe they're using newer tech for that.
Hmm.
And then something else needs to get built. And you end up looking like a shanty, man. You look like a Brazilian Rio de Janeiro ghetto, where it's like, hey, my mom's moving in, so I'm going to put a second floor on and a bathroom there, and then my cousin's moving in, and now I'm going to extend the house out. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of that, because it's hard to sit like and build software and predict like what the software is going to be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now. And
Sure.
this is why I think a lot of these companies, they're just big, bulky, and now untamable.
Yeah. It's just been it started with one little system, and everything just got bolted on around it, and now nobody knows where the original system starts or ends, and who's
Yeah,
who's over here has no idea who's over here, and
right. Look, think of a good shop, right? You get a new shop, it's clean, it's all organized, and then Now we added a quick service bay, and now
Yeah.
it kind of changes the dynamic of how the shop flows. And then, oh, we added this, and then through time, you're like, this shop represents nothing of how we spec'd it out in the beginning. It doesn't even operate the same way, dude. I've seen shops reverse flow, like, oh, we are using this store this way, and this, no, now we're going to switch it around because, oh, we wanted to put a tire machine in, but we couldn't put it on that side because of this problem
Yeah.
in the floor or piping, so we had to put it on the other side. So now we're going to change the whole flow of traffic through the store. Like, it's the same thing, I think, with
Yeah.
software and dealer and data. And look, I think now with so much data available that dealers absolutely should be capturing and leveraging to run their business,
Yeah.
but currently are not able to.
Yeah. I agree. All right. So we're going to move into segment two. We're going to talk about AI, and that what your point right there is a perfect segue into AI and how we can maybe harness some of that power of AI. And so let's start with what is AI and the speed that we've moved from Chat GPT coming out less than a year ago
Right.
to where it is now. Where are we going with this?
Oh my gosh. So first, I think you have to look at it from a few ways. AI, and again, I'll age myself. I think you and I will probably say, if we're talking to people, hey, I need to get on the internet and go look up something,
Right.
right? Because we
Yep.
did that, right? We used to dial up on AOL and or whatever we used,
Yep.
CompuServe back in the time. We got on the internet, right?
Right.
And now, if I say that to my son who's 14, he looks at me like I'm alien. Like, he's like, dude, Dad, what do you mean get on it? It's right there
Yeah.
on your phone.
It's
Like,
not a
or
scooter.
it's on my iPad, it's on my computer, it's everywhere, Dad. Like, it's on the TV. Like, we're always on the internet, right?
Yeah.
And I look at that because there's a good lesson to this to me, which is when the internet came out, our brains wanted to put it over here in a box, like
Hmm.
we get on it, right? And I think we are looking at AI in the same fashion. Like, we want to put it in a box.
Yeah.
The problem is AI is going to be pervasive in everything we do. And listen, and AI isn't new. AI has been around actually a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been operating in systems for a long time. I
Hmm.
mean, we haven't seen it as much until, to me, AI was kind of birthed really where we got to see it as consumers in probably 22. It kind of came alive, and we saw
Yeah.
ChatGPT, and we saw OpenAI, and we saw what the beginning of the possibility. And then, all the naysayers jump in. It's like, wow, it hallucinates, it does all this stuff. And and I get that. And when I hear those things, and I hear it all the time too, oh, AI, blah, blah, blah. I was like, understand this is going to encapsulate everything you do.
Right.
It's going to permeate everything you touch, see, interact with. It is
Hmm.
going to be at the center of it. It's not going
Right.
to be a wrapper like we think of it today.
Yeah.
It's literally the neural nucleus of everything.
Yep.
And I laugh because I was like, I bet you if we go back to, I don't know, maybe like 1912 Chicago, where the streets were loaded with horses, and we see a car go down, and everyone points, is like, what is that? Ah, that's never, it's a fad. It's for rich people. It's for this, for that.
Yep.
Every buggy whip maker, every saddle dude, tack guy, hay guy, storage guy,
Yeah.
all those people whose vested interest is not that, they're going to have something to say.
Hmm.
And I think it's that right now. And I
Yeah.
think AI scares a lot of people. I mean, I just saw the dock workers contract. They went on strike, and
Yeah.
dock workers are like, you cannot allow AI into the docks to take over jobs. Literally, that's one of their demands. And I'm like, first off, it's already there.
Yeah. Right.
But we're only going to see more of it. And trying to legal it out isn't the right way, because jobs are going to change just like they did. They went from I took care of horses, now I take care of cars, right?
Yep.
So I think we'll have an evolution. So to me, I look at AI as like a pervasive application that can be used many different ways to currently help people do what they're already trying to do
Hmm.
faster and more efficiently.
Yeah.
Now, there is a crest point where it will start doing more and more of their job to a
Hmm.
point
Yeah.
their job is not necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, already I've seen AI looking at like it can take more information than a doctor is going to see in his lifetime of looking at cancer scans.
Hmm.
And when I load cancer scans in for the globe, and AI can see the patterns through random forest analysis, or being able to understand that humans, we can't.
Yeah.
That's the
Hmm.
power. The power to me of AI is to look at things from a new lens, to leverage that lens to make my business more efficient. For
Yep.
dealers, and especially for dealers, they have to get involved with AI today. Just like, think about this: the dealers who got involved with the internet early became the successful e-commerce dealers,
Yes.
and they grew their businesses at a faster rate than their competitors.
Hmm. Yep.
And AI is the same thing in that regard, where you have to get in and learn of what it can do, how you can start leveraging it to help your daily business, and then how you turn that into operational efficiency. Because I think, again, I look at our world and say, well, most dealers competitively, you can't charge 20% less for a car. So
Sure.
you're not going to charge that much less to service or sell a car.
Hmm.
Maybe you cut a little bit off the time to sell, so it becomes a little bit more profitable,
Yep.
which AI can help. But I think the real truth is the most successful businesses learn to operate more efficiently. It's
Yeah.
like a competitive advantage.
Hmm.
So if I can put 200 cars through my service drive with 50 people,
Yep.
and you put 200 cars through with 70 people, I win every day,
Right.
even at the same price.
Yep.
So I look at AI as an efficiency play,
Yeah.
and being able to see and understand my data in a way that people just can't see and understand today. And to be able to correlate data, like a good example, like we've been working in, and again, this is a more sales side one, but I think the point will prove that, I could type in natural language. Okay, show me all my inventory over 60 days. Cool. Okay, now show me any in-market customers in my database that are targeted, that these are potential vehicles that they would be interested in. Those would be normally two very separate things.
Yeah.
So to have that correlation is huge. Or show me customers who I haven't been in for service in the last year, but used to service with me at least 2 times a year in
Yeah.
previous years, right?
There you go.
How would you run? There's no current product that could do that, but we are now going to see, because of AI, the ability to look at data from a multitude of angles
Hmm.
and then interpret it for you, and then spit you back what I call prescriptive actions. Like, okay, here are
Yep.
those people that you're looking for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the efficiency standpoint for me in the things that I've used AI for, um, that's where it's best for me. It's helping my efficiency in the things that I need to get done every single week. Um,
Yeah.
I saw a funny meme the other day that it showed a horse pulling a cart, and then the next picture was the horse in the horse trailer with the car pulling it, and it said "Well played, horse."
Yes.
And that's
Right.
that's how I see AI, right? Like people are they fought against the car, right? But it
Yeah.
won out and now it does some really cool things. And AI is the same way. People are going to fight against it, but in the end, it's going to win, number one, and number two, it's going to do some really cool things for us.
It's already doing pretty interesting things,
Yeah.
and I think that's just going to accelerate. And the interesting thing is the powers of auto will not be able to keep it at bay.
Right. Right.
And that's the more interesting thing. I think you're going to see businesses just what we see these super large players just be eroded out. And
Hmm.
I always look at like, so recently I read an article I post on LinkedIn about, it was like Canary in the Coal Mine about
Yep.
Klarna, which is nothing to do with the car space. They're like the like biweekly payment. Like if you're going to buy something expensive, I can't afford it all, so I can make
Right.
payments on it. Right? They
Yep.
they buy it and then you make payments. So it's a company out of the Netherlands. So 2 years ago, they took their internal team and said, "Look, this AI is a thing now. It's alive. I want you to start looking at applications in our business that we can leverage AI to run more efficiently." This was the mandate, right?
Hmm.
Fast forward, it's been 2 years. They're reducing staff by 50%. So, like 5 or 6,000 employees down to like two or 2,500.
Wow.
They are firing Salesforce. They're getting rid of their CRM. Hold on, it gets better. And then they used Workday to do all project management and all organizational
Yep.
gone. So they have cut two giant pieces of tech
Hmm.
out because AI is just processing and operating. And I wrote the canary in the coal mine because this is not just a obviously fintech thing. This is an
Sure.
everything thing. This is just a good use of AI being applied to your business.
Hmm.
And to me, I think what I got out of it was holy crap, SaaS companies are in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Forget the efficiency. Oh, the dealership or it could be more efficient. All the vendors, like you just got put up on a most wanted board
Yeah.
that AI is going to take away a lot of that rev that dealers are paying to
Yep.
do things that AI can do it at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
And you start thinking about that, like, wow. I mean, I look at things all the time, and I'm sure you do too, like marketing. So service marketing, right?
Yep.
Dealers depend a lot on agencies and co-op. And if I do a email blast and mailer or something or text blast to customers through a third party,
Yep.
I don't know, you're spending thousands of dollars on that,
Right.
even with co-op, right?
Yep.
You could use something like Active Campaign off the shelf. Their most expensive product is $150 a month.
Yeah.
Like, even forget co-op. Like,
Right.
even if co-op was 50% of it, it doesn't matter. The
No.
costs are just going to go down to like, so where dealers, I think on average are spending somewhere around like 25,000 on SaaS tools, their tech spend inside the store. That could most likely be eroded to only a couple $1,000s over
Yeah.
the next, if soon. I'm not going to say that's not 5 years. That's
Yeah.
probably 2 years.
Hmm.
So I think we're just going to see this exponential like change
Yeah.
because once it hooks, once one dealer does it,
Yes.
it's over.
Yep.
Because it's to me, I ended this like the 4 minute mile. Once John Bannister broke it, like 18
Everybody
year old
did.
kids, where everyone broke it.
Yep.
It just took one.
Yeah.
And I think look, out of 18,000 entrepreneurial dealerships,
Hmm.
there is one willing to do this. And the
Yep.
one that does it absolutely is going to win because they're educated, they understand it, they've trialed, errored, they got through it.
Hmm.
They're going to dominate, but now it opens a floodgate for everyone else is going to follow.
Yeah. And I mean, using the systems are just going to help make the data that you have actually be useful to you, because right now a lot of it is not useful to you.
Yeah, and like you don't even understand it. Like I
Right.
feel like dealers don't leverage their data. because there's a training of that, right? And dealers aren't we're not data scientists, right?
Yeah.
And nobody hires a data scientist in auto. Maybe some of the big vendors, but that's it.
Yeah.
And then they're just spitting back blanket type data to the dealership, but
Right.
it's not really granularly helping the individual dealer. But with
Mhm.
AI, I think you extrapolate all the dealers' individual data, run
Yeah.
AI modeling, and it's very specific for that store, that dealer. His AI model will be very different than his competitor or
Yeah.
similar store across town.
Yeah.
I think it's going to know you, how you operate, how to make you more efficient. And it's not just your customer data, that's one side of it. You
Yeah.
have all your operational data. How does your business actually operate? Where do you have bottlenecks of cash flow? Where do
Yeah.
you have efficiency in shop load time?
Yeah.
Where do you have inefficiency in parts management? Uh,
Yeah.
Data on AI can literally spit out using prompting ideas and solutions to help augment that, right? And like
Mhm.
discover it, correlate it, and then say, hey, here's some things you can think about. And through
Yeah.
time, I think it's just going to get better and better at it because
Yeah.
it could read every conversation, right?
Mhm.
Internal.
Yeah.
It could start looking for things like, wow, you always forget to pay your electric bill. And do you want me just to go ahead and do that? And
Yeah.
you'll be like, yeah, dude. It'll be like super Alexa, right? Like,
Yeah.
yo, Todd, I think you need more protein shakes. You haven't ordered in 28 days, right? So,
Exactly.
and I think we want that. I think we
Yeah.
all want to be Wall E, sitting on those
Mhm.
big lounger chairs with my Slurpee and the guy falls out, right? I think we all want that. But we just don't know how to get there yet. And I think AI is going to be a driver to help us get there. And
Yeah.
it's and that's what's exciting. I mean, look, I love tech, but I love dealerships first, right? I
Right.
love operations. I like going into stores, and I mean, there's such an energy inside retail.
Yes.
From the time I was a kid going in there, I was like hooked like a drug to be involved in it, right? And I
Yeah.
mean, gosh, dude, like a service drive on a busy Monday morning is like it's like triage of like a war zone, cars moving everywhere, people, shuttles, like
Yeah.
pushing cars. Car just got there, car out of gas, flat tire here, dead battery there,
Mhm.
like stuck and block half the service drive, piss everybody off, like now I'm out with the jump box rolling down the quarter, right? Like these are the things. And like that energy to me is like, that's what the car business is to me. My
Mhm.
goal is thinking still that technology is just going to make it better.
Yeah. Yeah, and it certainly can. And you and I had a conversation offline, and part of it was about a poll that I put up on LinkedIn that
Oh
the
yeah.
winner of the poll was that we need an easier scheduling or a better scheduling system for fixed ops. And I think I don't think I believe that AI is probably a great use case for improving scheduling in
You,
service.
you know what the best scheduling will be, Dave?
I don't.
No scheduling.
No scheduling.
What's going to happen is data and AI will go, I know on average now I see your patterns.
Yeah.
And as I said, AI is amazing at pattern recognition or what's called like random forest analysis, right? So the object behind that, it's like you think a forest is random. It's actually not. So um, thinking of it this way, where the system knows that you're in need and will anticipate based on previous behavior that
Mhm.
this is your window and now reach out to you and say, hey, Dave, it looks like you're within the window. Do you want to schedule now? Or do you want me to just check back with you?
Hmm.
I mean, you got to peel things back. Like,
Yeah.
I always feel like we're trying to fit AI and these things into our current workflows. And that's the number one problem.
Yeah.
You don't put, and I'll give you a good example. So when I was the head of sales for like the first web-based CRM, dealer ups,
Yeah.
and we would sign up a dealer and we talk like, let's say the service side, and the dealer would go, okay, Todd, who is the best at using this CRM for service? And I'd be like, well, this guy, they operate cool. He's like, give me their workflow, their plan. And I'd be like, if you try to put their plan in your store,
Yeah.
you will fail right away. No, no, no. They're not you and you're not them.
Yeah.
And I think it's that idea where you think like, oh, I could just plug in some other best practice and it'll work. And that's not the case.
Right.
And I think a lot of times we're looking at AI and we're just trying to apply it to like what we're like, I feel like the tools we have, and
Yeah.
that's not how it's going to work. And in fact,
Yeah.
that's a good way to make things fail.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's where you have to kind of step back and go see things through like a clear lens
Hmm.
and a whiteboard and go, look, what are we trying to do? And your goal is to, hey, I want to help speed a customer into my service drive when they need it,
Yeah.
time wise, and that I'm prepared in the pack that I have availability or
Yeah.
those parts. Like there's a whole process there that AI can and autonomous agents can figure out and then reach out. Because the other side is I don't want to reach out to you. Let's say I have a recall
Hmm.
and I don't have the part.
Yeah.
Now I just wasted. I called you up, Dave. Hey, there's a recall in your car, and you're like, oh shit, is it safety? Yeah, it's safety. Okay, I want to schedule. Well, you can't. We don't have the part. We'll call you back. It's like
Just wanted to let you know you weren't safe.
I just wanted to let you know you're driving an unsafe vehicle right now, and maybe you should park it. So but I see this world where you're like, no, 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 no. That to me is like, and the other thing is with AI, I see like everyone's using it in a sliver. Like, oh, AI for just a phone call. Like we do inbound phone calls, right? And triage that. Okay, you do phone calls, but realize people are texting me, people are emailing me, people are standing there in the front. Like
Yeah.
you have all these variables, right? Yet
Sure.
right now we're only seeing like slivers of it.
Right.
When the real reality for for a dealer to get the most out of it, he's going to have to start thinking of it as a comprehensive, like neural engine of his operation
Hmm.
and grow it just like a baby. He's going to
Yeah.
start small and then he's going to kind of grow and it learns about his store, how it runs, how people talk, how they communicate with customers, and it grows with him. And then it starts taking over small things.
Hmm.
And as you continue, like the job will become just keep it like going down the alley. So keep it out of the gutters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that will be a future of someone at the dealership. That will be their job. And at time, yeah, things will erode. But listen, you're going to need technicians. So
Right.
you're going to need, maybe you don't need 10 service advisors, maybe you need 4.
Hmm.
You're still going to need porters.
Right.
You're still going to need a lot of the people
Yeah.
organizationally. You'll still need salespeople. Maybe you don't need 20, maybe you need 6.
Sure.
you know Maybe you could do, I don't need 3 F&I guys, I can do 1 now because I have them at scale and half this deal is done and paperwork is handled, right? Like that operational efficiency is to me the if I was back in retail,
Yeah.
that's my eyes would be laser focused on that. And I know it's a road, but
Yeah.
I would keep that North Star plastered that
Hmm.
we want to ensure AI is integrated in every aspect of our operations. And you'll do it as the AI grows up, but you'll be growing up with it.
Right.
Because just putting someone else's AI into your business, like that works somewhere else, isn't necessarily going to work for you. Same as
Yeah.
the CRM.
Yeah. And I think you made a great point when you started down this road of you can't you need to be able to erase the process that already exists, the system that already exists, and start fresh, right? Start
Yeah.
with that blank whiteboard and talk about what is that ideal customer journey? What is that ideal technician journey during the day or advisor journey and going
Yes.
from there.
It's in software we call it's like a like constraint thinking. So a lot of times you build to the constraints of the solutions you're connecting to.
Okay.
So think of it this way where it's like, oh, I need this data from the CRM. Well, the CRM on their certified pay for crappy API only gives me X data. I now have to build a connector to the constraint of that system. So a
Yep.
lot of times we are managing our business to the constraints of the systems we're using
Mhm.
and the tools we're connected to. And
Yep.
it's a terrible way to look at having true innovation, because that's not innovation at that point. It's incremental change. And the
Right.
real reality is AI is perfectly suited for true innovative exponential change.
Mm.
That's what it's here to do.
Yeah.
Whether we want it to or not, it's what it's going to do.
Yeah.
And it's just we'll do it very fast. I always laugh. Like I was just in Montana, spoke to the Montana auto dealers, and like I do this all the time. I stand in the back in the room and I say, okay, I'm gonna take 30 steps. Where am I? And everyone's like, oh, you're back of the room, you're across the hall into the next ballroom or whatever.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, I'm gonna do it again, but now I'm gonna take 30 exponential steps. And I'm like, where am I? So
Mm.
I get everything. You're way outside the building, you're a mile down the road, you're on the other side of town. And I'm like, no,
I'm on
I'm
Jupiter.
30 exponential steps, just so you know. I'm literally almost to the moon. I'm 200,000, 300 and some or whatever miles away with 30 incremental or 30 exponential steps.
Exponential steps. Yeah.
As humans, we're very linear in our
Yeah.
thinking. We do
Yeah.
not understand exponential science, and nobody's ever gotten that right. And I think it goes just to show, like, a lot of times how we think about solving problems,
Mhm.
yet we're now getting access to a technology that doesn't solve problems that way.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
where I'm like, dude, whiteboard, clean. What are we trying to do? And a lot of times you go in and are like, well, we have this process and we just want to make it better. And I'm like, no, 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 stop. Connects. Dude, it looks like this spaghetti of connections. I'm like, this goes out, and then 2 days later, this goes out of CRM, and then we use Podium that sends a text message, and then we do this. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what do we want to deliver here? We like we want the customer to come in, want to be here. How long? Couple minutes, cool. We want to go through the process. We're going to exit them out, meaning we want to be able to him to pay.
yeah.
We want to get a review, and then we want to schedule something next or plant the seed. Right? Okay.
Right.
So let's get that now. How can we do this with the tech today, or what can we build to cross that boundary?
Mhm.
And to me, that's a much different way to approach problems than many dealers do. Um, but it also gets you out of the constraint thinking. It puts you into, wow, we can make an easier process. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I love that thinking, and I can see how it can be extremely difficult. And you take people like you and I who have been in the business for 30 plus years, right?
Yeah.
I say a customer makes an appointment, tell me the steps. You can go through and you can label all the different steps. And even with new systems that have come in that they can text in or they can go online and make an appointment, and, whatever. But you can still go through all those steps and to take that exponential leap into you don't even need any of that. Uh
Yeah. Like, why do you need that? It's like crazy. Like, that whole side of this, of like, when you think about it, like, what's the best appointment scheduler? None. Like, to me, it's pretty easy. Like, why do I want that friction? Why do I want that barrier? It
yeah.
should know this customer needs service. It is figured it out based on the customer's behavior or signals from the car, and it lets the
Mhm.
customer know and makes it super easy. And can say, hey, like, look, if you mined the actual data and you had AI rip through the last 5 years of everyone who's visited service,
Yeah.
you'll see distinct habits.
Yep.
Dave always drops off early in the week, early in the morning,
Hmm.
right? This customer's last minute, just randomly popping in, right? You'll have some people who are very consistent. It's like,
Hmm.
3,000 miles or whatever, they're still under that mental that they need to change their oils, or they're
Yep.
just showing up, right?
Yep.
And I think a lot of times we don't know our customers that well because we have not taken the data and looked at it to discover those patterns
Yeah.
that will help us serve our customers more efficiently. And to me, that's step one.
Yep.
Forget all the marketing you're going to do. Like, just get your data, be able to understand it in a way
Mm-hmm.
that I understand my customers and can serve them
Yeah.
and how they want to be served. Because let's be honest, we could go into 1,000 stores. They have no idea. Like, do you really know your customers? And look, yes, some advisors are like, yeah, I know. I have a handful of mental customers who are like playbook to me. I know them, right?
Right.
But they're your AI,
Yeah.
right? They're just
Exactly.
it on a micro scale.
Yeah.
They're it on your linear scale. Now apply that same mentality to every customer who comes in. And then the real key is that advisor leaves, all your mini
It's all
AI
gone.
just walked out the door.
Yeah.
And the key with AI, it doesn't sleep, it's not wrong, it
Right.
doesn't forget,
Yep.
and it is far more financially, operationally efficient than
Mm-hmm.
any human that will ever live.
Yep.
So I look at it like you better get your service data into a point where you can start extrapolating and understand your data, that you know your customers better than your customers know themselves. And then you start layering other data, like behavioral data. Like, we have a partnership with Equifax. We do all kinds of stuff with that data. You understand the cohort the customer lives in,
Mm-hmm.
buying preferences, all those things. Once you start wrapping all that big data around your customer data,
Yep.
you know exactly what to do. So,
Yeah. On the micro level there, the example that I thought of is my wife's a teacher, so I'm always acutely aware when a vacation week is coming up, right?
right.
But what that did for me in the dealership was it made me realize that you typically had several teachers who were either coming in at the end of that vacation because they needed something done with their car and they were going back to school, or they needed something done right before that vacation because they've been driving to work, and now they're about to have this week off, but they have stuff planned that they want to do. So now they needed their car service. So you typically had those bunch of people who were coming in either right at the beginning or right at the end of a vacation, right? Which if you're not associated with somebody who's a teacher, all that appears to you every year is, why do I have
People.
these few days when there's a lot more people coming in and they're in a
Yeah.
big hurry?
It's so true. You're right. You know, when I had my Chevy store, what I did, which is kind of funny, I read this book. It was written in the 60s by a guy named Libby, Libbey. Libby created a thing called RFM coding. Stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value. So basically, and it was built for direct marketing.
Hmm.
And he assigned everybody in a database a 3-digit code. For a 111 would be a person who has not been recently to the business. F is frequent, not a frequent user, one, and doesn't spend a lot of money, one. To a 555. A 555 would be recently in, frequent user, spends the most money. And then you create these quintiles. So everything gets organized, right? When you have all that data, all your customers, and they're mapped, because you know what customer in your database has spent the most money, who has spent the least,
Yep.
who's on a frequency scale. If you see him 3 times a year, that might be a 5. If you see him once, that would be like a 1. So you get all this in, and then once you have all that data, then you code them. And your goal is, and what I realized was, before I did this with Goodrich and all, I was sending like emails and direct mail to customers who were loyal, spent a lot of money,
Yeah.
and were so that I was sending oil change coupons
Yeah.
to people I didn't need to send an oil change coupon to.
Yep.
And then I realized, I was like, holy shit, like I'm losing a lot of money. So I changed it and I said, no, no, I'm just going to target these, like my loss leaders, my 111s. Yeah, give
Yep.
them the 995 oil change.
Right.
Don't give it to the guy who's willing to spend money with me.
Yep.
And, I learned from that. And I mean, I really boosted my service business and profitability by, and this is like 2007, right? But understanding my customers and I look at now today with I was doing the most rudimentary analysis in a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet of coding my data and then putting them in quintiles and going, okay, these send this marketing to.
Yeah.
These are like middle pack customers do this. These are my best ones. So let's create like a gold loyalty program. When I see one of those show up, man, red carpet, put a crown on them,
Yeah.
usher them in. I have your loaner car waiting. Like I want them to feel like $1 million.
Right.
But if we go into stores, it's hit or miss. They don't know that.
So true. So true. And there are a lot of stores that are still sending out 9.99 oil changes to somebody
Everyone.
who is already a loyal customer to them, when they could, instead of sending that 9.99 oil change, maybe they give them that loaner car that when they didn't ask for it, right? Maybe something of more value to them than a 9.99 oil change.
Yeah, I just feel like we miss by not understanding our customers.
Yes.
And I think with AI, the key to it is it enables you to understand your customers at scale and deliver personalization that
Yep.
we just couldn't do before. And that's like you said, like this customer, we've never offered the loaner car. Let's send them an email to say, hey, schedule now. I'll have a loaner car waiting for you. And if it worked, cool. If it
Mhm.
doesn't work, that wasn't their trigger. It
Right.
knows now not to ask or offer that again, offer them
Yes.
something else.
Yep.
And this is where these systems can learn at such a fast rate at
Right.
scale, where we just honestly, our brains just, and though we're supercomputers ourselves,
Yeah.
we just cannot process like this stuff.
No. Definitely not. Not on a conscious level where you need to use it, right?
No,
Uh
and maybe my dream state, but let me tell you, that's a mess. Last night, I was out walking with a dog, and it was a German Shepherd, and I have a Shiba Inu. I was like, "What the hell is this dog who showed up in my dream?" And then I was in a car. I was like, "This isn't my car." Like I'm telling you, like my dream state, maybe like you can do way more, but I was doing all kinds of stuff yesterday, and I had no idea. So yeah, I look at it though. I feel to me, dealers are still just afraid of the AI.
yeah.
And I think the way to not become afraid of something is to learn about it.
I,
And
I
the
think
way
that's
to,
why they're afraid, though. They don't understand what it can do, what the
yeah.
possibilities are.
But once you learn a little bit, it's
Yeah.
like it's honestly eye opening and refreshing. I've spent a lot of time. I've read probably most of the books that have been put out about AI, but the problem is the shelf life of those books is like 3 months. It's true. Like models change, tech is changing.
Yeah.
Experiments hit dead ends, and it's just like even like a basic LLM. I thought that in my thought, I was like, oh, math will be much easier than language, right? You
Mm.
would think
Yeah.
it wasn't that way.
No.
It was language was far easier to
Yeah.
predict language than to predict math.
Mm.
And these systems had a much harder time. That's why they still are a little behind the language side. Mathematics is much harder. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that because you could have all these variations that just again the system has
Yeah.
to learn and account for. So those are the things like, and again, I feel like step one for any dealer thinking about it in their fixed ops, get all their data in one spot, get it cleaned, evergreened, organized, right? Get there. That's table stakes of today.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, what can I learn from this data and start chipping away at efficiency with inside my organization? Don't take away any positions. Don't try to reinvent the whole wheel.
Yeah.
try to chip away and find value in building AI automations to help you be more efficient. And by leveraging the understanding of your customers better. I said, if you do that,
Yeah.
you're setting yourself up. It's like learning to ride a bike with training wheels. You set yourself up for the next one, the wheels come off, you get a bigger
Mhm.
bike. And next thing you know, dude, you're crailing down that hill. You built this crappy little like jump box like I had in the front of my house. And we would jump and measure how many squares of concrete we could jump. And dude, we would be crashing left and right. But it's that progression, right?
Yes.
You wouldn't be doing that on from training wheels on a little bike, right? So
Right.
I think it's that same idea for smart dealers. They're going to get ahead of that. A little bit of education, nighttime reading, good to fall asleep to. You'll go right to sleep with some of it, and but you'll learn,
Mhm.
and to
Absolutely.
me, podcasts are cool for that, and
Yeah.
get out of automotive people talking about it.
Yeah.
Seriously,
That
the real knowledge is not in auto. Like,
yeah.
and I'm not saying there's not smart people in our space,
No.
but there are. This is something that some of the smartest people on our planet right now are working on.
Mhm.
Listening to them and their insights and how they see this is absolutely eye-opening.
Yeah.
And it gives you, again, it just broadens your perspective because we get very narrowly focused in auto, like
Yep.
what's in it for me, like with car sales or with service. But when you start seeing the bigger picture, you'll be able to start grabbing nuggets that you're now stocking away, that you'll be able to go, oh yeah, when the tech's right, we can try that, or oh, that would make sense applying that. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Move yourself away from the automotive talk. And there is some incredible information out there, and it just helps your brain to think differently, right?
Yeah.
It really moves you away from, again, like you said, best scheduling is no scheduling. That's going to break a lot of people's brains when they hear that, right? So they're the first, and I as soon as you said that, the first thought that came into my head went, so everybody's a walk-in? No, that's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying at all. So now they have to move past that and unbreak their brain from that part.
Well, listen, if we have fun today, let's break some brains, right? And let's break up the idea that, look, to go to new land, you don't take the same road.
Right. Yeah. You get the
And
same place.
right, and that's the problem. We're on this merry-go-round complaining about data, complaining about this, yet we're using the same systems. We're literally going over and over again and
Mhm.
expecting a different result. That to me is the crux of the problem.
Yeah.
You can't keep banging your head and like doing the same work and expect like, oh, it's going to dynamically change the outputs.
Right.
So this is to me an opportunity to kind of start look at things fresh through fresh eyes, see the world differently, and be able to embrace the difference and be comfortable being uncomfortable for a while, just like when the internet came out. And I listen, I remember, I will not mention his name, but he's a very popular guy who does real estate, but was also a big automotive trainer, always on his jet. And I remember sitting in an SET when he had a goatee and he wore these big suits, which totally mind blowing. But um, I remember seeing an SET, and this is so long ago, and him telling everyone in that audience that the internet was a fad. I can remember it clear as day. And I can also remember then me talking to him and he was asking about internet stuff. And now he leveraged the internet in a way that is astounding how big he's been able to grow his business.
Yeah.
And I look at that as a solid, like, you know, he he was a naysayer until,
Yeah.
he learned to leverage it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we want to reject these things. And I think AI is just one of them right now. And at the end, it's easy to point out all the flaws in it because look, it's new. There's going to be
Right.
flaws. It's not going to
Yeah.
work perfectly.
Of course.
But when it does work, dude, bar the door, Katie. That shit's gonna get real fast, man. Like I'm
Absolutely.
seeing like, obviously connected car,
Yeah.
AI, preventive, like, hey, this part's gonna fail in 3 to 7 days.
Hmm.
We've already scheduled based on your calendar, and the part is there, will be there. It'll take 47 minutes to fix it. Do you want to charge it on your Apple card or
Right.
Amex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an exciting future right there.
And like, hey, do you want me to take the car and drive it there
Right.
autonomously at night while you're sleeping?
Yeah. Yeah. You won't even know. You won't even know about it.
Yeah, and it'll go and repair it and bring it back. And
Yeah.
look, as much as that seems like fantasy, there is actually a path to get there.
Hmm.
And it's just time. And I think right now, when you have this acceleration, time's going to be a lot shorter, than we expect. Now, the
Yeah.
autonomous driving, I don't know if they'll truly ever solve autonomous level for, I mean, they've still been battling of it. I remember Elon Musk, I had bought a Tesla in 2016. He's like, we're going to have autonomous level 4 by next year. That was 17. It's 24. We still don't have it.
Yeah.
Uh, but even now he says, I don't know if they'll solve it. Right. But
Yeah.
because you have a lot of false horizons, because
Right.
it's super hard. Now,
Yeah.
could they get there? Of course, but they need breakthroughs. And,
Yeah.
but the only way that happens, you keep experimenting, you keep trying, you keep
Exactly.
investing in it. Right. So,
Exactly. That's
yeah,
what makes the future exciting.
I love it.
Todd, this has been an incredible conversation. A very quick, over an hour
Sorry,
conversation.
I told you, I get pumped up, dude. I just
It,
get all excited about this stuff. So,
it's all good. I'd keep going all afternoon, but I don't think anybody's going to watch us for that long. So,
good point.
uh, Todd Smith, CEO of QoreAI, thank you so much for being with us on the Fixed Ops Mastermind.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and thank you for listening. And please send your questions. More than happy to participate any way I can to help anyone. So.
Excellent.